The war for the soul of jiu-jitsu is officially on, and the UFC just made a massive move. They've signed one of the biggest stars in grappling, Nikki Rod, in a deal that's guaranteed to change the sport forever. And as if that wasn't earth-shattering enough, the internet immediately lit up with another blockbuster signing, Joao Miyao, sending a tidal wave of speculation through the community. But this is way more than just another event announcement. This is a power play, the next step in a master plan that's been unfolding behind the scenes. We're going to break down the strategy, separate the facts from the fiction, and explain how this will permanently alter the career of every professional grappler on the planet. Let's start with the undisputed fact, the move that changed everything. Nick Rodriguez, better known as Nikki Rod, has officially signed with UFC BJJ. It's confirmed he'll make his debut for the promotion in March at UFC BJJ 6. This isn't the UFC just scooping up another talented grappler. This is them acquiring a certified superstar, a proven needle mover, and one of the most recognizable faces in the sport. To really get the size of this, you have to understand who Nikki Rod is. He's not your typical lifelong black belt. Rodriguez was a college wrestler who, almost unbelievably, only started training jiu-jitsu back in 2018. In less than 2 years, thanks to insane natural athleticism, he blitzed the ADCC West Coast trials and landed on the biggest stage in submission grappling. As a mere blue belt, he ran through a gauntlet of legendary black belts, beating world champions like Orlando Sanchez and Roberto Cyborg Abreu on his way to a silver medal at the 2019 ADCC World Championships. The feat earned him the nickname the Black Belt Slayer, and his star has only been rising since. He's a two-time ADCC silver medalist, a founder of the iconic B Team in Austin, Texas, and the recent winner of the first ever Craig Jones Invitational, where he took home a life-changing prize. He's a physical specimen, an explosive, dynamic athlete who mixes raw power with a relentless forward pressure style. In a sport that can be slow and methodical, Nikki Rod is pure chaos and entertainment. So, when the UFC announces they've signed him, a guy who can clearly draw eyeballs and make money, it's not a test run, it's a statement. They aren't just developing prospects, they're buying established headliners to build a new era. The signing alone would have been the story of the year, but it's his first matchup that adds another layer of intrigue. A rematch against Elder Cruz, who defeated him back in 2022. But it was what the community thought happened next that truly exposed the anxieties and hopes for the future of the sport. Within hours of the Nikki Rod news breaking, the second shoe dropped. UFC BJJ officially announced they had also signed Joao Miyao, the legendary multiple-time world champion. This wasn't a rumor or a leak, it was a calculated follow-up blow. The grappling world just held its breath. This confirmation was the strategic earthquake that solidified the UFC's intentions. Signing Joao Miyao is a massive statement because he is the other side of the jiu-jitsu coin. He's the poster child for traditional, hyper-technical, gi-based competition. As a multiple-time world champion in both gi and no-gi, he's a legend of the IBJJF circuit, famous for his pioneering berimbolo guard. While Nikki Rod is the explosive American wrestler, Miyao is the cerebral Brazilian technician. Signing both at the same time is a declaration of war. It signals that the UFC intends to unify the entire grappling world under its banner, bridging the gap between the new school, no-gi entertainment side and the traditional gi-based competitive world. With both signings confirmed, it's clear the UFC is building the Death Star, and they are collecting every major weapon in the galaxy to make it fully operational. And that gets to the heart of it all. The community's reaction, that mix of pure electricity and panic at the reality of it all, reveals the central conflict that's now defining professional grappling. It's a battle over money, legacy, and control. It's the story of a sport at a crossroads, forced to choose between its independent soul and a very corporate, very lucrative future. Look, this isn't the UFC's first rodeo. We've all seen this movie before, and it was called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Back in the early 2000s, MMA was a fractured mess of different promotions and scattered talent, a lot like pro grappling is today. The UFC, led by Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, didn't just put on fights, they systematically took over the entire industry. They bought their rivals, signed the biggest stars to exclusive deals, and created a universe where they owned everything: the narrative, the champions, and the very idea of what it meant to be a pro fighter. This is the exact playbook they're running in Jiu-Jitsu. The goal isn't to coexist, it's to become the one and only place for elite, professional submission grappling. Signing a star like Nikki Rod is step one. He brings instant credibility, a built-in fan base, and a character that the UFC's massive marketing machine can sell to the mainstream. But the real master plan is in the structure behind the signing. It all boils down to two things: money and control. First, the money. Pro grappling has always had a pay problem. For decades, even world champions struggled to make a real living from prize money alone. Most have to grind, teaching seminars, running academies, or selling instructionals to pay the bills. This financial insecurity has always been the sport's biggest weakness, and the UFC knows it. They're stepping in not by offering the biggest one-off prizes, but by offering something even rarer in Jiu-Jitsu: consistency. UFC BJJ executive Claudia Gadelha said the vision is to give athletes a real career path, growing from 6 events last year to 10 this year, all inside one organization. But here's where it gets complicated. The timing of Nikki Rod's signing is baffling from a purely financial standpoint. He just won some of the biggest prizes in the sport's history, including $1 million at the Craig Jones Invitational. Meanwhile, reports and public statements suggest UFC BJJ's pay is much more structured. Craig Jones has said that UFC BJJ paid athletes like Andrew Tackett $15,000 to show and $15,000 for a submission win. Those numbers, while steady, are dwarfed by the giant checks being handed out at independent super shows. This leads to the million-dollar question: why would Nikki Rod, a guy who can command huge paydays on the open market, sign a deal that looks like a pay cut on paper? The answer seems to be a calculated bet. He's trading short-term cash for long-term positioning inside the UFC machine. He's gambling that the power of the UFC brand will make him a global star, opening doors to major sponsorships and mainstream fame. It's the Conor McGregor blueprint. Use the platform to become a brand where the fight purse is just a fraction of your income. But that gamble comes with a huge cost. And that brings us to the second pillar of the UFC's plan: the golden handcuffs of exclusivity. For as long as pro grappling has been a thing, it's run on an open circuit. The best guys could fight pretty much wherever and whenever they wanted, on Who's Number One, GrappleFest, or anywhere else, all while chasing the sport's true holy grail, the ADCC World Championships. Held every 2 years, ADCC is the Olympics of submission grappling. It's not about the money, it's about legacy. Winning ADCC cements your name in history forever. Nikki Rod's entire career was built in the fires of ADCC, and now the UFC is threatening to burn that entire system to the ground. In a recent jaw-dropping announcement, UFC BJJ executive Claudia Gadelha confirmed the promotion's new policy. Starting in 2027, athletes signed to exclusive UFC BJJ contracts will be banned from competing at ADCC. She stated, "There are some of our exclusive athletes that we've given the ADCC to this year, but from next year on, they can only be an athlete of the UFC BJJ." The fallout from this is absolutely massive. This move creates a schism, splitting the talent pool right down the middle. It forces athletes into an impossible choice: chase the history and glory of an ADCC title, or sign with the UFC for a steady paycheck and mainstream exposure. You can't have both anymore. This is a direct attack on the culture of professional grappling. It's a move designed to devalue ADCC by stealing its biggest stars and positioning UFC BJJ as the new, undisputed top of the mountain. The reaction was immediate and furious. Tom DeBlas, a BJJ legend and an executive at Rival One Championship, called the policy terrible. He said, "ADCC is like our Olympics. There's something deep and special about winning that. Now you're not allowing athletes to do that? For what? For control. This isn't for the athletes. This is the true master plan. It's not just about signing fighters, it's about forcing a choice that will remake the entire pro landscape. By poaching Nikki Rod, a two-time ADCC medalist and one of the tournament's biggest draws, the UFC has fired its most powerful shot yet. They're betting that other top athletes will follow the money and security, leaving ADCC and other promotions as relics of a bygone era. This is a massive moment, and it's forcing every fan and fighter to ask some hard questions. What do we actually value more? The chaotic, cross-promotional dream matches of an open circuit, or the polished professional structure of a single league? Before we get into what this means for the future, I want to hear from you. Is the UFC's move good for the sport in the long run, or is it killing the very thing that makes grappling special? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're staying on top of this story, and you won't want to miss what happens next. The signing of Nikki Rod and the looming ADCC ban doesn't just affect a handful of top guys. This changes the game for every single person who dreams of going pro in jiu-jitsu. The open road they once saw ahead of them now forks into two very different and separate paths. Path A, the independent, the ADCC dream. This is the path we all know. You grind through local shows, win trials, and get invited to super fights. You build your name across different promotions, selling instructionals and teaching seminars to fund the journey. Your one goal is to win the ADCC World Championship. This path gives you freedom, the respect of the hardcore fans, and a shot at history. But it's a road filled with financial instability and the constant hustle for your next paycheck. Promoters like Craig Jones are fighting to make this path work with million-dollar prizes, creating a high-risk, high-reward alternative, but it's still a brutal way to make a living. Path B, the company man, the UFC star. This is the new path. You focus on getting noticed by the UFC, signing that exclusive contract, and building your career inside their system. This path offers a consistent salary, incredible exposure on the world's biggest combat sports platform, and the full force of the UFC marketing machine. It provides a level of professionalism and financial security that grappling has never seen. But you give up your freedom. You won't compete at ADCC. You won't have dream matches against stars in other promotions. Your legacy will be defined not by the history of the grappling world, but by the belts created and owned by the UFC. You become part of the machine, betting that the machine will make you a bigger star than you ever could have been on your own. Nikki Rod has made his choice. He's on path B. He's betting that the UFC can make Nikki Rod a household name in a way that winning a third or fourth ADCC medal never could. He's looking at MMA history and seeing that the fighters who became legends and got rich were the ones who did it inside the UFC. This whole situation forces the conversation about athlete pay, control, and what professional grappling should even look like. Every young blue belt hitting the mats today has to look at these two paths and decide what they really want. Nikki Rod's move isn't just a signing, it's an earthquake, and the aftershocks are going to reshape the landscape for years to come. The era of the independent roaming gunslinger in jiu-jitsu might just be coming to an end, replaced by a world of leagues, contracts, and hard choices. The question isn't if the sport will change, but what it will become. Will this new structure create a generation of wealthy, mainstream athletes? Or will the walls of exclusivity kill the chaotic magic and independent spirit that made us all fall in love with this sport in the first place? The battle for the soul of jiu-jitsu has begun. Let me know which side you're on. Thanks for watching.